So what does this place do? Yeah. Oh. That is a mask like we heard about. It seems kind of in there though. Yeah, I can't grab it. Well, what? Oh, hello. One, two, three, four. Is that meant to symbolize the floors or the different, like, thingies that I have? Paidas, I keep hearing what they're called. Okay, that was a different door. Got it. I was trying to parse that. I'm like, where am I? This is where I came from, I think, right? Nope, that's probably where I came from. Okay. Disorienting room. There's at least 3 doors in here, and then a place that goes downward. I suppose, are any of the masks different? Oh, there's a lever here. They do not want me clicking on this lever. Is that not a lever I interact with? I can go up this ladder. There's a different lever up here. Oh. Well, now what have I done? Oh, that one seems unattached. Okay. I have a mask now. That's the one I get to have. Okay, yeah, so there's 4 things that have masks in them. One of them does come off. There's 3 doors upstairs, a ladder going up and a ladder going down. Hello? Strange little boxes lost in the pool. What am I supposed to think about those? Is that a flask? I don't think I can grab it. The Ashka Site 28. I think it usually says that, doesn't it? Oh, goodness. A door lock system code required. Oh, goodness. Okay. How are we doing so far? Did I record any of those yet? Not really. Okay, so I'm gonna need the matching symbols for 4 different things. What am I looking at? Okay. What would motivate somebody to put this information... Ow. in this format. Sorry. I have a bit of an injury. Ow. It kind of hurts to sit down on a chair and play video games, actually. That's what I'm living with right now. Specifically when I try to move. That's two of them. There's the Among Us symbol from earlier. So reacquaint myself with what's outside of each of these doors, I guess. Is this where I came from or something else? Oh, okay, this one doesn't work. Oop, oh, that was weird. And that one has a broken bridge. Oops. I went to rotate myself, but the game did it for me, so then I over-rotated. Nope, go over there. That's, I think, not one of the options for how this code works. Let's do a comparison, but I think that this is not the answer. Let's see here. Yeah, so the Among Us has the squiggle. This one. Ah, no, those are the symbol options. Okay. So the table has the question mark. This guy has the shelves. There we go. Yeah, the other symbols were more simple, so when the big complex ones happened, I thought those were going to be indicators of where on the map the answer was or something. But no. We are truly finding our ways into some places. It's interesting to juxtapose this with something like Riven, because I do kind of get the vibe that this game is using its spaces inefficiently. Like, we are just constantly unlocking new passageways and new locations at a crazy rate. It feels like a crazy amount of like square mileage to walk around in. But specifically, the amount you do in each place doesn't seem to be as dense as the sort of like Metroidvania-ish vibe, like a Metroidbrania-ish vibe you get from the other Myst games, where it usually takes longer to figure out what you're doing, or you end up backtracking through old stuff constantly and finding way more to do in them. Which there definitely are breadcrumbs in old areas for something to happen that it hasn't happened yet. So there's going to be some of that. But I am just a little shocked by how rapidly we're in new rooms and hallways constantly. Hello. This must be their secret office place. Yeah, how do you see a journal like that and not think of Myst? Oh god, 2 more journals, okay. And some... No. Interesting little cup. That's their... Yep, their pen and inkwell. Leftover dishes. It's not a note, right? No, it's like a mat. Oop, oh my goodness. Let's maybe read these other journals first. Vamir's journal. Secret office on Filitsu Island, Paita Factory. Although I have salvaged the Paleoltish head statues from the pillars, was it right for me to agree to having the only remaining Chianti building demolished just for the sake of experiments? The Filitsu plants are vital in my plan to eradicate Smollax's obsession and pollution of the Paita technology. This natural power could be a way to save Olujay before it is too late. Perhaps the creepers will come after me next. I might end up feeling them wrapping around my ankles somewhere on a beach, hating me as much as they hate that wretched redelium metal Smollax keeps choking this place with. It's almost as though the land knows. Neyyah knows. Smollax can smile for now, knowing he has ridden more of this once beautiful world from another slice of its history, but not for long. I have made some space. So far, Smollax is constantly framed as the villain so vehemently, but only from this guy's perspective. So I kind of almost wonder if the game is going to do a bait and switch and Smollax is actually based and Vamir is awful or something, and he's like lying to us just because there's like a generational thing. Like one, it's reinforced so heavily that you almost expect it to be false, but also like so many puzzle games in more recent years, the primary narrator or person that's telling you the story is almost always actually the villain because people take after GLaDOS and Portal so much. But we'll see. I have made some space in an old storage area at the back of my secret office at the Paita factory, taking away some of the pallets that were once used for storing the crates of freshly powered Paitas and placing these statue heads there. I didn't have the heart to dump them in the bottom of the ocean. Everything else in this once beautiful world is crumbling into the ocean as it is. Maybe Orion will release her vines on the Flitsu Dome now, knowing I am trying all I can to preserve what is left of the Vezalchian world here on Neyyah. I did smile at the little present my friend Urntur sent over to me the other day, a prototype of what would later become the Flitsu Dome itself, demonstrating the mechanics and operations of the rotary system. I think it will serve as a nice ornament at my office on the Paita factory. Work has progressed nicely on the Levandis crystal lamps. While with the alterations made to one specific lamp, perhaps the prototype model will come in useful for making sure things are kept safe. There's like a lack of paragraph break despite the topic changing so dramatically from the prototype to unrelated lamps. The Flitsu root experiments are important. I must protect them. Is there a missing page? It's a new paragraph, but no indent from there. Weird. The biggest concern I have is the longevity in the Flitsu Dome's operations. Smollax was quick to examine the mechanisms of the Fletzian gun towers, how all cogs would run together in order for the towers to rise, and as a loom took top chamber shutter to lower. He simply stole what he needed from the Fletzians and did not require much assistance from the magicians at the Ronalda Temple at all. Apart from the installation of the giant Kula crystal at the top of the dome and the Flitsu plant pools inside. The rotary shell works fine, considering the designs and operations of the mechanisms, but it's cumbersome and unstable. I will be pushing for a more stable dome to house the Flitsu plants, especially if any other dome structures are built for further experimentation. Yeah, these are definitely written in a way where it's just very hard to internalize anything that you're reading. It's just it's so many names of things that it's hard to like anchor yourself to anything. I have made further developments to the old railcart system that leads to the Mahili portal tank. The entrance to the underground railcart works well, even after all these years. The Flatzians knew how to devise very secure doorways to areas of great importance. What concerned me was the portal itself. To make any further repairs faster, I have marked the area in which the portal has been built under the water. I can resume work much easier that way. Ah, I saw that actually, that weird little balance beam looking spot. So there's a portal beneath that. Pelska portal activation code 4231. I've decided upon a mixed use of Flatzian floral symbols and constellation numbers to enter the code. Flora constellation, Flora constellation. My book of Flatzian Flora came in handy on this one. It's... You see what I mean, right? Like, it's so nakedly giving me instruction on how to solve its own puzzles, which is just a weird way to write your journal. Like, you'd expect to get a hint, like, oh yeah, that I'll have to deal with that later or something. But you don't expect to be like, okay, so this is the code. Ah, but the code is Flora constellation, so it's actually two different ways of interpreting what the code means. Also, I have a book on Flatzian Flora, so go read my book on Flatzian Flora and you'll understand how to put this code in that I told you on basically the same page. You're like, okay, that's too many, that's less giving a hint in your journal and more, here's a step-by-step instructions to mostly solve it already. It's like, it's not quite getting what the writing in Myst was usually doing. The bunker teleportation console is also ready. I must be prepared to use this once it is activated by the sensors at the Neyyah heater chamber, as Smollax will start his descent into Neyyah once I have opened the console. I have concealed the code in a far away, safe place. I was sitting with Neyyah one morning, before I set out to Neyyah to complete a list of errands. He translated one of the Peyotish clan's names into Galahante for me. Belalka. That's kind of a nightmarish language, right? V2, V5, C6, C3, C6, C5, V1. Like, this is, just seems like a very frustrating way of writing to have to do so many dots like that. Let's see. So it is just it's also a one-to-one letter translation, so Galahante and Peyotish functionally have a one-to-one translation letter by letter. Notably, just not really how languages tend to work. No, I mean how any of them work, really. This is one of those moments that really pushes my desire to generate systems in which to teach the sacred coded language of the Flatzians. Not that Smollax would approve. However, when I have a prototype ready, I intend to share it with Neyyah. I'm sure he would be very keen to try it out. I'd also need to keep it on a distant, faraway location. Okay, so the game's just telling me outright there's glasses that'll translate the language for me, but the language itself is really rudimentary because it's just our language, but with the letters replaced directly by one-to-one by other symbols, like Hylian, another fake language that's not really a language. I have made 2 new keys which will unlock the new mechanisms I have installed across Neyyah. I have given one to Mason, the other I will keep here in my office at the Paita factory. Yeah, I feel like normally a journal in one of these games would give you like one of these clues total and not just start giving you like what's almost like a walkthrough. It almost feels like it's the developer's tendency towards over-explaining is getting kind of everywhere else, because it's also in the menus. Like, the menus really explain themselves. Like, they're really worried you're not going to get what a journal does or what map screens do and stuff, so they have a paragraph of explanation on all of them. I left the Ronalda temple the other day, having discussed the recent Yop Lesh portal devastation at the Paita factory. Smollax wasn't at all happy, disregarding the portal's once useful activity as a mere means to an end. So many areas of the Flatzian world have been transformed into platforms to give power to Smollax's use of new Olujarian technology. Another kind of technology. This is a very hard to... It's hard to take any of this in, honestly. But Olujay was... I think that's what the guy said right before he blew himself up. He's like, I need to go there. And then he blew up. So I'm assuming that guy was working for Smollax. Although I thought he might have referenced Vamir. Or the guy that Vamir was talking about. I guess the fact that Vamir was talking about me doesn't necessarily mean that he was an ally to Vamir. Because supposedly Vamir's been freaking out about the old one showing up and saving everyone. Upon activating the microphone frequencies at the old gun tower on the Levandus zone, the sounds emitted there brought tears to my eyes. It was almost as if the sound belonged to the mourning of the departed Pelskas, or even the pain of the lost Falatsians seeping back into Neyyah from the depths of their prison. The Quilivian. I am so close to finding it now. Soon I will be able to put my mind at rest. My work on Neyyah will be done. I have just finished installing the new lever system for the water pump shed at the Scarliti Towers. I've made sure that the key Untur has provided is kept far away from any prying eyes. I've considered bringing the key here to the secret office in the Pieta factory, but having precious items hidden in different locations will keep things more secure. I mean, yes, please do not take everything to your secret office, but also stop giving people instructions to your secret office. I'm uncertain whether the old guard station on Golorfiak Mines is a good place for keeping these things protected, considering how close it is to the main hub. However, I doubt Smollax will have much intention of snooping around in old Flatzian areas. The elevator in the Falitsu Dome has been shut down. I understand Smollax's frustration at this. Even so, those Pelska vines will consume the entire dome before too long. I warned him countless times to not use Relidian metal. Of course, yes. This is getting into like Glup Shido territory where I'm like, what am I reading? I'm so sorry, especially if the developer's watching, but I'm like, this is genuinely rough. Like, I think most players aren't gonna really take any of this in. I'm basically gonna go right back to just playing the game by intuitively solving the environment and puzzles the way you do in a Myst game, and I can like look through this in desperation if I genuinely need to refer to a specific thing, but mostly I'm just like, what am I reading? I know there's a dome with vines, but that'll be apparent the moment I look at it, so it's not really a thing I need to read about. And I know that he really hates Smollax. Those vines will enshroud anything Smollax pollutes Neyyah with. I just hope I can speed up work with the Flitzu roots before this happens. I'll replace the button as soon as I can, but the Volk cabinet on Flitzu Island must remain accessible in order to retrieve the correct symbol for the Mayorta gas system at the Lodvik Tower. Okay, this reminds me, I must fix the cabinet sensor. All other 3 sensors seem to be in good working order. I have to discuss with Taliava my suspicions regards the Golifium that Smollax has concocted from the Nyashka spores. What? So he concocted Golifium from the Nyashka spores, of course. I took a couple of samples and we'll take them to my lab on Olujay for a couple of tests. I may even bring the equipment to Neyyah, but we'll see. But we'll see. I guess it's technically, yeah. But also, but we'll see? I don't know. There's a possibility that the drug may be used to subdue the people, rather than benefit their health in any way. It would be used as a protection against the elements once the Laflomian portal brings Olujay back to Bragnarian? I'm losing my mind. I'll see how Taliva goes with eating the white parts of the Gufunkia mushrooms. It would definitely be a worthwhile, exercise, just to like reread the journals in Myst games that are made by Cyan, and really just go over what the purpose of the writing, like what the purpose is, what the writing's accomplishing, and how it writes what it does, and how it conveys the information it does, and how it kind of avoids peppering pages with so many made-up words to the point where they're like a third of the overall volume of the text. 'Cause this is wild. I've been working alongside Mason a lot more of late, as I believe if my trust can be strengthened in him, he will prove to be a valuable asset to the work I need conducted on Neyyah. I think Mason blew himself up. That's who it was, right? Mason hasn't mentioned much about his memories of where he came from, as he says he can't remember much before arriving here on Neyyah. One thing I noticed on Mason when he first arrived was a distinctive purple dust and rock on his shoes and parts of his clothes. This made me speculate where this may have come from. I have seen no such dirt here on Fezalta, and definitely nowhere on Olujay. This led me to consider the possibility this may originate from Quilivia, within the Quilivian itself. Mason has fueled my hopes in finding a way to restore Fezalta, to find the Quilivian and rescue the prisoners there. If Mason can escape, who else can? And if not, is there a way to get inside the Quilivian and perform a rescue attempt? The thought of teaching our community about the more in-depth and fascinating ways in which the Fezaltians lived their lives excites me beyond measure. I am proud of my efforts so far in pursuing ways in which to inform new Neyyah site workers of the Fezaltian soul of this land. I am not sure if I'll pursue work on the constellation number system I have rigged up currently at the old watchtower on Pinorvia Point. Glitches keep occurring when some of the switches are activated. Still, it's an enjoyable process, building something which keeps Neyyah alive at its core. The constellation number system keeps Neyyah alive at its core? I've been getting a little thrown out because I don't really know if I really get the difference between, like, Neyyah and Fezaltia and Quilivian and Olujay and Bragnarian. Is that just every separate island? Because I take it that Neyyah is the world or region we're in. So it must be a bunch of separate islands, essentially. I finally fixed the Palaska portal. For now, I'll keep it at the hangar on the lab HQ of Golorfiek Mines. I used it a few times yesterday when double-checking the sensors at the Neyyah Pool's heater chamber. Getting from there to Pinorvia Point as planned is now instantaneous. So that's the symbol we saw earlier too. Trapping Smollax at the bunker can now be achieved much faster now. No point in waiting around any longer than is needed. I've set up active points around Neyyah where the Palaska portal can be used. Only once the portal is activated will the systems glow blue. The lit symbols must be visible in order for the traversals to work properly. So that's the spot I had, the weird little eye that sticks out, and there's like a bowl I pull out and that symbol shows up. But it has to be glowing, I think, so I still have to finish the activating this like tutorial bit that was for the wife or girlfriend or love interest or other character that a lot of the documents or the notes are often left for. Palaska portal active point locations. Oh, that's the one I found. Flitsu Island, Gefunkia Zone, Sleeping Tower area, inside the old Paita lamp at the beach. Flitsu Island, Dome Zone, above the plasma door entrance, Paita factory walkway side. Flitsu Island, Harbor Zone, plaque above the entrance to the old beacon cave on the old binocular towers side. Flitsu Island Paita factory zone, the pier inside the telescope. Flitsu Island Levandus zone, inside old Paita lamp at the rest area near the viewpoint. Flitsu Island Levandus zone, inside the left old Paita cradle outside the cavern entrance. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, I'll just move on. We don't need to read this all right now. Oh, that's one of the keys we heard about. There was another journal. I believe it's you. Oh, yep, this is the book about Flora that I was just told about. Damn, alright. So it's an immediate primer on 16 plants and 5 types of wildlife. Look at the funny shark! Okay, so we've already seen the Malaiva cat and the Palife toad. I'll maybe read about the things I've seen before. I'm not going to read 16 plants right now. That's just a bit much to dive through all at once right now. Let's see. The Malaiva cat, a very adaptable cat species. Malaiva cats have evolved to become a ferocious predator in Fizalta, using their large yellow eyes to spot prey at long distances and in dark areas. Mating rituals involve the use of a large red crest that flares up at the back of heads. It can also be used to ward off any potential threats, along with a deadly spiked tail. The Palife toad can be found in swampy, marshy areas and enjoy a good sun bathe once in a while. Their spiky skin was once used by Flatzians as an ingredient in their early development of weaponry against Elopolites, I think is how you say that one. Let's see here. Nothing in these books, it looks like. Oh. Smollax's letter. Benoshi portal bracelet. My dear Vamir, I write you from the top chambers of the Ronalda Temple below the Benoshi Eye Tower. You know what I feel, Vamir, as I breathe in the dying breath of another day on this floating rock. I feel an emptiness that has continued to suffocate my people for far too long. It is sunset now, and the Benoxi have started to disappear. Their wings, like black sides cutting through the expanse of reds and magentas that bleed from the sky. Their shrieks, I can hear it in their shrieks. They crave for something else, something lost to them. Don't you feel this way too, Vamir? We are so similar to the Benoxi, you and I. We crave for that same something, something that belongs to us, deep down at our cores. Alas, we have been parted from it for so long that we now mourn in the darkness, finding solitude only in the shadows of what could have been. The very thought of holding the Quilivian against snatches. The very thought of holding the Quilivian again snatches me from my hour of sleep. Yet I cannot find it, and so I mourn, just like the Benoxi. I feel them, cutting endlessly in the soulless twilight of what has become of my existence, our existence. You are fortunate to have found what you need on Neyyah Site 28, but let me assure you that it won't be enough to quench the thirst of what your soul really craves for. The shrieks of the Benoxi will be flying around your head before too long, Vamir. This leads me to the matter I have been meaning to approach with you for a good while now. Alas, the search beckons. The rituals at the Ronalda Temple grow fiercer each night, and the Kehelta Volca stirs within the white pool of the Laflomium portal. I have been preoccupied, to say the least. Nonetheless, it comes to my attention that your Benoxi eye portals have stirred quite a fuss here at the Ronalda Temple. Quakes from the dead pit have been interfering with various experiments currently being conducted by my high priests. I am sure they are on to something. A new development in the speed in which the Paita and Levandus crystal react together, and in doing so, generating enough power to pierce a glimpse into the heart of the Laflomium portal. However, amidst all this progress, your decision to have separated the entire Philitsu Island into 5 separate zones is causing more trouble than it is worth, in my opinion. Yet, this is a different character, but he writes in almost the same expository way as the character that we were just reading all the journals from already, including the constant need to name everything in its entirety. Yes, I understand why you required the dome to be separated, due to the rising sea levels and increasing temperatures of the Flitsu Island, disturbing the Flitsu plant growth. I trust your decision, and have approved your experiments with the Flitsu roots on multiple occasions, as I, too, agree that the root could provide a suitable power source for our people throughout the city. This way, the paitas can be manufactured for the primary intent of being used at the Ronalda Temple, furthering my research there. I am also quite surprised by the results of the Benoxii portals. While the original main islands of the Neyyah Site-28 remain fairly stable in their allocated areas across Feamor, I believe through our technological advances we have achieved greater things. I'm aware you had a big part in overseeing this work, and I congratulate you for it. Inspired by the Volk machines, right? Or however you spell those things. Considering the filth littered across Neyyah Site-28, is there much point in separating more of the place? And to what end? You've built all this technology only for one wretched island, and most of it serves no purpose for the production of the Neyyah spores. The Paita factory is crumbling into the ocean, along with its ancient forgotten history. A mangled corpse, stinking of old magic, spells, and the disgusting Fezaltian ways. The ways of our betrayers, Vamir. I think sometimes you do well to remember that. I am putting a stop to any further separations you may have in mind for Neyyah Site-28. Your focus, while you're stationed there, is the Neyyah plant, harvesting the spores and preparing them for delivery back here to Olujay. Put to rest these notions you fabricated on protecting a world whose people, may I remind you, deceived us and tried to destroy us. If it wasn't for me, we might never have had a chance of being rid of this godforsaken place. For now, I will continue to maintain the Benoxii portals. I will also have talks with Tirarna mechanics to see if I can have some of those new blue Levandus crystal systems positioned around the Flitsu dome to repel those disgusting green seaweeds. I do advise you start equipping yourself with new Benoxii portal bracelets while being stationed out on Neyyah Site-28. I thought this is 9 a.m., but it's not. I am always wearing one now, and while they don't work very well within the confines of an active Jalud, they're incredible at teleporting anyone. You really gotta pick a topic for your letter, man. Like, this is not how people write letters. You usually are trying to convey a specific idea, or make a specific request, or make a specific declaration. Everyone... It seems, so far, the characterization is that everyone in this game is exactly the same kind of neurodivergent as each other, and just as prone to just rambling on about every single possible thing they feel like thinking about in the moment. And you're like, what? I'm like, where is this letter going? What is the point of this letter? It really needs to, like, this is our first communication from what is seemingly the villain of the story. What's his point? We got a little hint of him looking down on the not the protagonist, but looking down on the guy that we've been reading stuff from before, Vamir, I think. Yeah, looks down on him for liking the Philitzians. I'm so sorry. The names are. I'm having trouble keeping track of the names still. You really gotta get the, like. Especially since, like, you have an emotional relationship with the villain of a story, so it feels like the villain should, like, really be... the first communication from them should really be serving the purpose of communicating the tone of what we should be thinking about the villain, and how they contrast with the protagonist, or the good guy, or whatever, that we've met before, and, like, what their particular plans are. And that might... and I think that's in here somewhere, but it's so shrouded in so much terminology and him rambling about random shit that it's really hard to get an emotional reaction out of this overall letter. They're incredible at teleporting anyone back to the Ronalda Temple from great distances away. A lot of the other Neyyah site station workers have these. They provide emergency teleportations directly back to Ronalda Temple in case of any Jaludes malfunctioning, or in your case, ending up trapped in a Flitsu island zone linked between broken Benoxy eye portals. Of course, we could power them back up from our end, but I could not say for sure how long this would take. Also, they save us a great deal of hassle. No longer will we have to fly men out to escort trapped workers back to Olujay when team meetings are required, or if I need to bring all workers back in case of emergency. I can override the teleportation system and bring the bracelet's occupiers straight back here to the Ronalda Temple. Of course, I would give you plenty of notice before doing so. The bracelets also keep me a tally on how many workers there are out on the Neyyah sites. What are we talking about? I have attached a bracelet with this letter in case you wish to use it. I do hope you understand my decision in regards ceasing working on... I do hope you understand my decision regards ceasing work on the Benoxy eye portals. We should be targeting our sights towards finding the Quilivian and leaving the rest of Fizalta to rot within the dead pit it has become. With that, I bid you farewell. I shall retire behind the walls of the Ronalda Temple, if only in desperation to rid the shrieks of those hungry, searching Benoxy from my tired ears. I do hope they will never haunt your waking hours as much as mine. Smollax. Huh. Wild. Okay, and there's a lot more documents to get through. I guess we'll poke through these next time. Yeah, bit rough. It's a beautiful game. I'm interested in navigating its world and solving its puzzles and figuring out what it takes to go through it. The writing? I don't know, man. In particular, I barely know what's happening because... Not because of the, like, vagueness that the Myst game sometimes had, but instead it's, like, so overwritten and meandering and full of terminology that I'm, like, genuinely, like, not taking much of it in a frustrating way. I guess let me know in the comments if you're getting, like, a very different reaction and it's working amazingly for you, or if it's, like, wildly off. Because it definitely, like, feels like it's not really getting what it should be working towards. But, yeah, next episode we'll finish up digging through this office and figure out where we're going next.